r/malicious compliance dad chose his ex over me, so I stole our dog forever. I'm standing in my dad's driveway at 6 a.m., watching him load boxes into a moving truck I wasn't supposed to know about, when our golden retriever Max comes bounding around the corner with a tennis ball in his mouth. "Hey buddy," I whisper, scratching behind his ears the way that makes his tail go crazy. He drops the ball and licks my face, completely oblivious to the fact that my father is about to steal him from me forever. Dad hasn't seen me yet. He's too busy directing his girlfriend Stephanie on how to wrap his golf clubs, the same clubs that used to sit untouched in our garage when he was married to Mom. Funny how he suddenly became passionate about golf right around the time he started screwing his secretary. I pull out my phone and start recording. Dad said I was being dramatic when I accused him of planning to move without telling me. Said I was making things up for attention like Mom apparently taught me to do. Well, here's your attention, Dad. So when exactly were you going to mention this? I call out, stepping into view. Dad freezes with a box labeled kitchen stuff in his hands. Stephanie makes this weird squeaking noise and drops a picture frame. It shatters on the concrete, their vacation photo from Cabo. The trip he took while telling me he couldn't afford to help Mom with my car insurance. Sweetheart, I was going to. Don't. I hold up my hand. Just don't. When? He sets the box down carefully, like he's handling evidence. Which, honestly, he kind of is. We leave Thursday. I was going to tell you tonight at dinner. Thursday. 3 days from now. Max wanders over to sniff the moving truck, his tail still wagging because he's a dog and he trusts that the people who love him won't just abandon him. And Max. He's coming with us. Stephanie's kids love him, and we'll have a big yard in Colorado. Stephanie's kids. The words taste like poison. What about your kid, Dad? You know, me. The one who picked Max out at the shelter. The one who trained him and takes care of him and loves him. Stephanie clears her throat. She's wearing yoga pants that probably cost more than Mom's grocery budget, and her blonde hair is perfect even at 6 a.m. Honey, maybe we should discuss this inside. I wasn't talking to you. I don't look away from my father. You're really doing this. You're taking my dog and moving across the country without even asking me how I feel about it. Dad's jaw tightens. It's the same expression he used to get when Mom would question his late nights at the office. The custody agreement gives you visitation, not ownership. If you have a problem with the arrangement, tell your mother to call my lawyer. But the agreement is the agreement, and we're going to follow it to the letter. To the letter. Max comes back and sits next to me, leaning his warm weight against my leg. He has no idea he's at the center of a war he never asked to be part of. But Dad's words are echoing in my head, follow it to the letter. Fine, I say quietly. To the letter it is. Dad must hear something in my voice because his expression shifts slightly. But then Stephanie puts her hand on his arm and the moment passes. I give Max one more scratch behind the ears and walk away, my mind already racing. Dad wants to play by the rules. Perfect. Let's play. The drive to Mom's house takes 12 minutes, but I spend every second of it thinking about those 4 words, to the letter. Mom's in the kitchen when I walk in, still in her scrubs from her overnight shift at the hospital. She's got that exhausted look that's become permanent since the divorce, the one that makes me want to burn down Dad's perfect new life just for existing. "You're up early," she says, not looking up from her coffee. "Everything okay?" "Dad's moving to Colorado on Thursday. With Max." Her coffee mug stops halfway to her lips. "What?" "Moving truck, boxes, the whole thing." Stephanie's kids apparently love Max. I can't keep the bitterness out of my voice. He said if we have a problem with it, you should call his lawyer. Mom sets down her mug and rubs her temples. "Jesus, Emma. I'm sorry. I know how much that dog means to you. Where's the custody paperwork?" She looks up sharply. "Why?" "Dad said we have to follow the agreement to the letter." I want to know exactly what the letter says. Something shifts in Mom's expression. She disappears into her bedroom and comes back with a manila folder that's gotten way too much use over the past 2 years. She spreads the papers across the kitchen table, and we both lean over them. There, she points to section 4.3. Joint custody of family pet, with primary residence at father's discretion during his custody periods, and mother's discretion during hers. I read it 3 times. That's it. Just family pet. Your father insisted on keeping the language simple. Said we didn't need to overcomplicate things. Her voice has that edge it gets whenever she quotes Dad's condescending lawyer speak. But simple language means loopholes. And I'm starting to see a big one. Mom, who's the legal owner of Max? Like, on his registration and stuff. She frowns. You are. Remember? We got him for your 15th birthday, and you insisted on filling out all the paperwork yourself. Said it would make him officially yours. My heart starts beating faster. And the microchip? Same thing. Your name, your phone number as primary contact, mine as secondary. She's watching my face carefully now. Emma, what are you thinking? I pull out my phone and start Googling Colorado pet ownership laws. Then Oregon laws. Then interstate pet transportation regulations. Mom reads over my shoulder, and I can feel her energy shift from exhausted to interested. The custody agreement says family pet, I say slowly, but it doesn't actually transfer legal ownership, does it? It just dictates where Max stays during custody periods. Mom's quiet for a long moment. When she finally speaks, her voice is careful. If someone were to move across state lines with an animal they don't legally own, without the owner's permission, that would be theft. Technically, yes. She looks at me seriously. But honey, your father isn't going to just hand Max over. And if this turns into a legal battle? It won't. I'm already forming a plan. Dad leaves Thursday morning, right? Which means Max will be at his house until then. Emma. I have visitation rights. The agreement says so. I meet her eyes. And if Max happens to be at your house during your custody period when Dad comes looking for him? Mom is quiet for a long time. Finally, she sighs. Your father always did think he was smarter than everyone else. Is that a yes? She looks at the custody papers, then at me. I have to work a double shift tomorrow night. I won't be home until Thursday morning. Which means I'll be alone. With access to Dad's house during my scheduled visitation. And 12 hours to figure out how to save my dog. Thanks, Mom. I didn't say anything. But she's almost smiling. Just, be careful. And Emma? Yeah. Make sure you follow the agreement. To the letter. Tuesday crawls by like torture. I sit through calculus, AP English, and chemistry lab while my brain runs through logistics. Dad's work schedule, Stephanie's routine, when Max usually gets walked. I've spent 17 years in that house. I know every creak in the floorboard, every hiding spot, every spare key. But during lunch, my best friend Kai drops a bomb that makes my stomach fall through the floor. Dude, I saw your dad at PetSmart yesterday, he says around a bite of sandwich. He was buying one of those travel crate things. The airline-approved kind. My blood goes cold. What? Yeah, the lady was explaining how to get the dog used to it before flying. Something about sedatives for the flight. Kai's looking at me weird now. Why do you look like you're about to throw up? Because Dad's not driving to Colorado. He's flying. Which means Max could be gone as early as tomorrow night, not Thursday morning. My entire plan just shifted from complicated to nearly impossible. I spend the rest of the day in a panic, checking Dad's social media obsessively. Finally, at 3 p.m., Stephanie posts a picture of airline confirmation emails with the caption, last-minute flight change. Leaving tomorrow night instead 2 hearts hashtag new adventures hashtag couldn't wait. Tomorrow night. Wednesday. As in less than 30 hours from right now. I call Mom during her break, but she's dealing with some crisis in the ICU and can barely focus. Honey, I can't think about this right now, Mrs. Patterson is coding and the line goes dead. That evening, I bike over to Dad's house for my scheduled dinner visit, my hands shaking on the handlebars. Act normal, I tell myself. Don't let him know that you know. But the second I walk through the door, I can see how much has changed. The living room is full of boxes. Max's food bowls are packed. His favorite rope toy is nowhere to be seen. It's like our life together is being systematically erased. There's my girl. Dad's voice is too cheerful, too forced. He hugs me, and I smell Stephanie's perfume on his shirt. How was school? Fine. I spot the airline crate in the corner, exactly like Kai described. Going somewhere? Dad's smile falters for just a second. Actually, we need to talk about that. There's been a small change of plans. During dinner, take out Chinese because the kitchen is packed, he explains that change of plans like it's no big deal. Work needs him to start earlier. Housing situation fell through so they found something better. Stephanie's ex is being difficult about her custody schedule so they need to leave tomorrow. All lies delivered with the same confident tone he used to promise Mom he was working late. What about Max? I ask, watching my dog beg for lo mein under the table. He'll be fine. The vet gave us something to keep him calm during the flight. Dad won't quite meet my eyes. You can visit during school breaks. Colorado's beautiful, you'll love it. You'll love it. Like this is something I'm choosing. Like I'm part of this decision at all. After dinner, Dad disappears to make work calls and Stephanie goes to pack more boxes. I'm supposed to be doing homework at the kitchen table, but instead I'm studying the airline crate, the leash hanging by the door, Max's favorite spots in the house. That's when I notice the new deadbolt on the back door. The spare key spot by the garage is empty. Dad's not just moving, he's locked me out. My phone buzzes with a text from Mom, working another double. Won't be home until Thursday afternoon. Emergency at hospital. Thursday afternoon. Hours after Dad's Wednesday night flight. I stare at the text until the words blur together. Dad's leaving tomorrow night. Mom won't be home to help. The house is locked down tight. And I'm running out of time to save the only family member who has never let me down. But I'm not giving up. Not yet. If Dad wants to play dirty, I can play dirty too. That night, I lie awake staring at my ceiling until 2 a.m., running through increasingly desperate scenarios. Break a window. Dad has a security system now. Pick the lock. I'm not a criminal mastermind, I'm a 17-year-old with a chemistry textbook and a broken heart. By morning, I've accepted the truth, I can't get into Dad's house without help. Which is how I find myself standing outside my Uncle Mike's auto shop at 7 a.m., clutching 2 cups of gas station coffee like peace offerings. Uncle Mike is Mom's brother, and he's hated Dad since the divorce. Not in a dramatic way, Mike's not the type for big confrontations. But he sees how Mom works double shifts to pay rent while Dad posts vacation photos with his girlfriend. He knows Dad forgot to pay for my school clothes last month. And he definitely noticed that Dad didn't show up to my junior year award ceremony. Emma. What are you doing here, kiddo? Mike emerges from under a Honda Civic, wiping his hands on a rag. Shouldn't you be in school? I need help. I hand him the coffee. And I think you're going to want to hear this. 20 minutes later, Mike's leaning against his workbench with his arms crossed, listening to me explain Dad's moving timeline, the locked house, and my rapidly shrinking window of opportunity. Let me get this straight, he says slowly. Your dad's stealing your dog, moving across the country without telling you, and now he's changed the lock so you can't even say goodbye. Basically, yeah. Mike's jaw tightens. He looks exactly like Mom when he's angry, same stubborn set to his chin, same way of going very quiet before he makes a decision that's going to piss someone off. What do you need? My heart jumps. Just a way into the house. I know Dad's schedule, I know when Stephanie leaves for her yoga class. I just need 10 minutes to get Max out of there. And then what? You can't hide a golden retriever forever. I don't need forever. Just until Dad's flight leaves tomorrow night. Once he's gone, Max stays with me and Mom during our custody periods. By the time Dad realizes what happened, he'll be in Colorado and the dog will be in Oregon where he legally belongs. Mike's quiet for a long time, sipping his coffee and thinking. Finally, your mom know about this plan? She said to follow the custody agreement to the letter. That's not an answer. I meet his eyes. She said she'd be working a double shift tomorrow night. She won't be home. Mike snorts. Plausible deniability. Smart woman, your mom. He pushes off from the workbench. All right. What time? You'll help. Emma, I've been waiting 2 years for a chance to wipe that smug look off your father's face. This isn't help, this is Christmas morning. We spend my lunch period, I'm officially sick with a stomach bug, planning every detail. Mike knows Dad's neighborhood because he used to do work on our old neighbor's car. He's seen the house layout from family barbecues back when we were still pretending to be a happy family. Stephanie leaves for hot yoga at 1:30 every Wednesday, I tell him, consulting the mental schedule I've built from months of awkward custody visits. She's usually gone for 2 hours. Dad doesn't get home until 5:30. Security system. New, but I know the code. He uses the same password for everything, Stephanie's birthday plus her lucky number. I can't keep the disgust out of my voice. He used to use mine and Mom's. Mike nods grimly. What about the dog? He going to come with you willingly? Max? He'd follow me anywhere. At least I hope so. The problem isn't getting him to come. It's getting him out without the neighbors noticing. Leave that part to me, Mike says. I've got an idea. But as we're finalizing details, my phone buzzes with a text that makes my stomach drop. Hey sweetheart. Change of plans again, Stephanie's ex moved up his custody exchange so we're flying out tonight instead of tomorrow. Can you come say goodbye after school? We leave for the airport at 6 p.m. Love you. Tonight. As in 8 hours from now. I show Mike the text, and he swears under his breath. That doesn't give us much time. It doesn't give us any time. Stephanie's yoga class ends at 3:30. Dad gets home at 5:30. That's a 2-hour window, and I'm stuck in school until 3:15. My voice is getting higher, more panicked. By the time I can get there, Dad will be home and they'll be loading Max into the car for the airport. Mike's looking at his phone now, checking something. What if you weren't stuck in school? What do you mean? He grins, and suddenly he looks exactly like Mom when she's about to do something that's technically against the rules but morally justified. What I mean is, your Uncle Mike just had a family emergency that requires you to leave school immediately. The school secretary barely looks up when Uncle Mike walks into the main office at 1:15, wearing his cleanest work shirt and putting on what I can only describe as his responsible adult voice. I'm here to pick up Emma Rodriguez, he tells her, sliding a driver's license across the counter. Family emergency. I'm already waiting in the hallway, having gotten the come to the office immediately announcement during AP history. My hands are shaking as I sign out, but the secretary is more interested in her soap opera than our fake emergency. Hope everything's okay, honey, she says without looking up. Thanks, Mrs. Chen. The lie tastes bitter, but I swallow it down. Should be fine. The walk to Mike's truck feels like it takes forever, even though we're basically sprinting. I keep expecting someone to chase us down, to call Mom and ask why I'm leaving school early. But Mike's plan works perfectly, we're off campus and heading toward Dad's neighborhood within 5 minutes. Stephanie posted on Instagram 20 minutes ago, I tell him, refreshing her profile obsessively. She's at the yoga studio. Posted a selfie with some motivational quote about embracing change. I want to throw my phone out the window. Good. That gives us about an hour before she gets home. Mike's knuckles are white on the steering wheel. You sure about this timing? I checked Dad's location on the family tracking app he insisted we all download for safety. Still at his office downtown, 25 minutes away in normal traffic. He's at work. We're good. But as we turn onto Dad's street, I spot something that makes my heart stop, his car in the driveway. Shit. Mike pulls over 2 houses down. I thought you said 5:30. He always gets home at 5:30. Always. I'm staring at Dad's BMW like it might disappear if I look hard enough. Unless. My phone buzzes. Dad's location has updated, he's been home for 20 minutes. Which means he left work early to finish packing. Which means our entire plan just fell apart. What do we do? I whisper. Mike drums his fingers on the steering wheel, thinking. Is there any chance he's not actually there? Maybe he just came home to grab something. I'm about to answer when the front door opens and Dad walks out, carrying a suitcase and talking on his phone. He loads the suitcase into his car, then goes back inside. A few seconds later, I see Max in the window, watching Dad's car like he knows something's wrong. He's definitely there. My voice sounds hollow. And he's loading the car early. They might be leaving for the airport sooner than 6. Mike swears under his breath. Okay, new plan. We wait for him to leave. But what if he takes Max with him? What if they're going straight to the airport? As if to answer my question, Dad comes back outside, this time carrying the airline crate. He struggles to fit it in the back seat, and I can see him getting frustrated with the angle. Finally, he gives up and goes back inside. He can't fit the crate in his car, I realize. They're probably taking Stephanie's SUV instead. Which means he's making multiple trips, Mike finishes. And Max is still inside. We watch for another 10 minutes as Dad makes 3 more trips, boxes, garment bags, his golf clubs. But no Max, and no Stephanie. She's probably still at yoga, planning to meet him at home before they head to the airport together. This could work, Mike says slowly. He's distracted, making trips back and forth. If we time it right. That's when my phone explodes with notifications. 3 texts from Dad, all sent in the last minute. Change of plans again, taking Max to boarding until we can fly him out separately. Airline said crate was wrong size, need to reorder. Leaving for Happy Tails boarding in 10 minutes. My blood turns to ice. Happy Tails boarding is across town, and they have a strict 48-hour holding policy once an animal is checked in. If Dad drops Max off there, I'll never get him back before the flight. We're out of time. I'm already opening the truck door. I have to go now. Emma, wait. But I'm already running across the street, my backpack bouncing against my shoulders. I can see Dad through the living room window, clipping a leash onto Max's collar. In about 30 seconds, they're going to walk out that front door and drive away forever. I sprint around to the backyard, where the new deadbolt can't stop me because I'm not going through the door. I'm going through the window. The basement window has been broken since last winter when a tree branch cracked it during an ice storm. Dad kept saying he'd fix it, but that was back when he still pretended to care about maintaining the house we all lived in together. Now it's my way in. I drop to my knees in the flower bed Mom used to tend, pushing aside the overgrown roses that haven't been watered since the divorce. The window screen pops out easily, it's been loose for months. But squeezing through the narrow opening while trying not to make noise is harder than it looked in movies. My shirt catches on the broken glass, tearing a long scratch down my side. I bite back a yelp and drop into the basement, landing harder than expected on the concrete floor. Upstairs, I can hear Dad's voice getting louder, more frustrated. No, I specifically asked if this size would work for a 60-pound dog, he's saying into his phone. Well, what am I supposed to do now? My flight leaves in 4 hours. 4 hours. Not the 6 I thought we had. I creep up the basement stairs, avoiding the third step that creaks. The door at the top is slightly open, and through the crack I can see into the kitchen. Max is sitting by the back door, leash attached, tail wagging because he thinks he's going on a fun car ride. He has no idea he's about to be abandoned at a boarding facility while his family falls apart around him. Dad paces into view, still on the phone. Fine, yes, I'll pay the rush shipping for overnight delivery. But I need the crate by tomorrow morning. He pauses, listening. What do you mean you can't guarantee it? Do you understand what I'm dealing with here? What he's dealing with. Like Max is just another logistics problem to solve. I watch Dad disappear into the living room, his voice fading as he argues with whoever's on the other end of the call. This is my chance. I push the basement door open slowly, praying it doesn't creak. Max, I whisper. Here, boy. His ears perk up immediately, and he starts toward me, tail going crazy. But the leash is clipped to something, I can't see what from this angle. I step into the kitchen, and my heart sinks. The leash is attached to the new deadbolt on the back door. Dad's literally anchored him there. Shit, I breathe, trying to figure out how to unclip the leash without making the metal hardware jingle. Max is pushing his nose against my hands, excited to see me but confused about why I'm acting so weird. That's when I hear the garage door opening. Stephanie's home early. I freeze in the middle of the kitchen, half crouched next to my dog, as the sound of her car engine gets louder. She's pulling into the garage, which means in about 30 seconds she's going to walk through that door and find me here. Dad's still on his phone in the living room. No, I don't want to wait until next week. I need solutions, not excuses. I fumble with Max's leash, my hands shaking as I try to unhook it from the deadbolt. The metal clip is stiff, and every tiny sound feels like a gunshot. Max is getting more excited, starting to whine softly because he can sense my panic. The garage door rumbles closed. Come on, I think desperately, working the leash clip. It's stuck, or maybe I'm just too panicked to work it properly. Footsteps on the garage stairs. The leash finally comes free just as I hear Stephanie's key in the door between the garage and kitchen. I grab Max's collar and pull him toward the basement, but he resists, confused and scared by my urgency. Come on, buddy, I whisper frantically. We have to go. Now. The door handle turns. I make a split-second decision that will either save us both or ruin everything. Instead of trying to get Max down the basement stairs, I dive behind the kitchen island, pulling him with me just as Stephanie walks into the room. We're trapped. My heart is hammering so loud I'm sure Stephanie can hear it from across the kitchen. Max and I are crammed behind the island, his warm body pressed against mine as I hold my breath and pray he doesn't decide this is a great time to bark. Stephanie's heels click across the tile as she moves around the kitchen. I can see her legs through the gap between the island and the floor, those expensive yoga pants replaced by a pencil skirt and designer pumps. She must have changed after class. David, she calls out. I'm home. How's the packing going? Dad's voice carries from the living room. Thank God you're here. We have a problem with Max's travel crate. What kind of problem? Stephanie opens the refrigerator, and I watch her feet shift as she grabs something. A water bottle, maybe. She's standing maybe 3 feet away from where I'm hidden. Wrong size. The airline won't accept it. Dad's footsteps move toward the kitchen, and my stomach drops. I was about to take him to that boarding place until we can figure out shipping, but now I'm thinking maybe we should just. He stops talking. I can't see him from this angle, but I know exactly what happened. He's looking at the back door, where Max's leash should be attached to the deadbolt. Where's the dog? Stephanie's feet turn toward the door. What do you mean? Wasn't he right here? He was clipped to the door. The leash is still here, but... Dad's voice gets sharper, more focused. Max. Here, boy. Next to me, Max's ears perk up at his name. His tail starts wagging, thumping softly against the cabinet behind us. I wrap my hand around his muzzle gently, the way I've seen dog trainers do, praying he understands this isn't the time to respond. Maybe he slipped his collar. Stephanie suggests, but she sounds uncertain. He's never done that before. Dad's footsteps move through the kitchen, getting closer to our hiding spot. Max. Come here. This time Max whines, a soft sound that might as well be a fire alarm in the dead silence of the kitchen. I close my eyes, knowing we're caught. Did you hear that? Stephanie's voice is right above us now. But before Dad can answer, his phone starts ringing. The ringtone he assigned to his work number, some generic corporate melody that used to interrupt our family dinners back when we still had those. Damn it, he mutters. I have to take this. It's about the Colorado contract. The phone stops ringing, then starts again immediately. Dave Morrison here. His voice fades as he walks back toward the living room, already launching into work mode. I hear him say something about timeline adjustments and moving expenses, and I know we have maybe 2 minutes before he comes back to deal with the missing dog situation. Stephanie, however, hasn't moved. I know you're in here somewhere, she says quietly, and for a terrible moment I think she's talking to me. Then I realize she's trying to coax Max out from wherever she thinks he's hiding. Come on, baby. We have a long trip ahead of us. Baby. Like he's her dog. Like she has any right to call him that after knowing him for less than a year while I've loved him for 3. She opens the pantry door, then the cabinet next to the sink. Her search pattern is methodical, and it's only a matter of time before she checks behind the island. That's when I hear the front doorbell ring. Are you kidding me? Stephanie mutters. Her footsteps move toward the front of the house. David? Someone's at the door. Can you get it? Dad calls back, still on his phone call. I'm trying to salvage this contract situation. Stephanie sighs dramatically and clicks her way toward the front door. The moment I hear her voice greeting whoever's outside, I make my move. Come on, I whisper to Max, tugging gently on his collar. Time to go. We crawl out from behind the island and I half carry, half drag him toward the basement door. He's not resisting anymore. If anything, he seems to understand that something serious is happening. Dogs are smart that way. But as we reach the top of the basement stairs, I hear Stephanie's voice from the front porch getting louder, more agitated. No, I'm sorry, there's been a mistake. Emma doesn't live here anymore. Emma doesn't live here anymore. My blood goes cold as I realize who's at the front door. And why this just became so much more complicated than a missing dog. I freeze at the top of the basement stairs, Max pressed against my legs, as Stephanie's words echo through the house. Emma doesn't live here anymore. But I can hear the voice responding to her, and my heart sinks into my stomach. It's Uncle Mike. Ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you, but Emma left her medication in my truck, Mike saying, his voice carrying that fake polite tone he uses when he's barely containing his temper. Her inhaler. She has asthma, and she's going to need it before her dad's flight tonight. Inhaler. I don't have asthma, but Mike's creating a medical emergency that Stephanie can't just dismiss. Smart. Well, she's not here right now, Stephanie says, and I can hear the suspicion creeping into her voice. Maybe you could call her mother. Already tried. She's not answering. Mike's tone gets more urgent. Look, I know this is awkward with the custody situation and all, but Emma's having trouble breathing. I just need to get this to her. From the living room, Dad's voice rises. What do you mean the Colorado office is closed for the week? I'm supposed to start Monday. Perfect. Dad's work crisis is keeping him distracted, but for how long? I can hear Stephanie's heels tapping against the hardwood floor, her nervous tell. She's trying to figure out how to handle this without getting Dad involved, probably because she knows exactly how explosive this situation could become if he realizes I'm supposed to be here somewhere. I really think you should try calling her mother again, Stephanie says finally. I don't feel comfortable. Ma'am, with all due respect, this is a medical emergency. Mike's voice hardens just enough to sound serious without being threatening. I've got a 17-year-old kid who can't breathe properly, and her inhaler is sitting in my truck. Are you really going to stand there and tell me she can't have her medication because of custody paperwork? Brilliant. He's putting her in a position where saying no makes her look heartless, but saying yes means admitting I should be here. Max shifts beside me, and I realize he's getting restless. 3-year-old golden retrievers aren't built for hiding in stairwells, and I can see him eyeing the kitchen like he wants to go investigate the voices at the front door. If he decides to wander off now, we're both screwed. Stephanie hesitates, and I can practically hear her internal debate. Fine. But you'll have to wait outside while I ask David. No. If she gets Dad involved, everything falls apart. Mike must realize this too, because his next words come out in a rush. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'll just drive Emma to the emergency room. They'll have inhalers there. Emergency room. The 2 words guaranteed to make any adult panic about liability. Wait. Stephanie calls out, just as I hoped she would. You don't need to, look, just give me the inhaler. I'll make sure she gets it. Thank you, Mike says, and I can hear the relief in his voice. It's the blue one, in the small bag. She'll know what to do with it. Blue inhaler. Small bag. He's giving me details I can use later to sell this story if anyone asks questions. The front door closes, and Stephanie's footsteps move back toward the kitchen. I hear her set something down on the counter, probably whatever Mike handed her to maintain the charade. Then her phone buzzes. Hello, she answers. Oh, hi Mom. No, we're still on schedule for tonight. A pause. What do you mean, weather delay? We're not flying through Chicago. Weather delay. Flight complications. Dad's work crisis. Everything's spiraling out of control, which means their timeline is about to change again. And I still don't know if that works for me or against me. From the living room, Dad's voice gets louder. No, you listen to me. I have a contract that says I start Monday, and I have a girlfriend and a dog and a whole life that's supposed to be in Colorado tomorrow. Figure it out. A dog. Not my dog or Emma's dog, just a dog. Like Max is cargo instead of family. Max seems to sense my anger because he presses closer against my leg, offering comfort the way he always does. The way he's done every day since Mom and Dad started screaming at each other 2 years ago. The way he won't be able to do anymore if I let Dad steal him. Stephanie ends her phone call and moves back toward the kitchen, probably to continue her search for Max. I have maybe 30 seconds before she starts looking behind furniture again. But as I prepare to move toward the basement window with Max, I hear something that changes everything. Dad's work call ending with 5 words that make my blood run cold. Fine. We leave in an hour. An hour. Not 4 hours, not even 2 hours. 60 minutes before Dad and Stephanie pack Max into whatever vehicle they've decided to use and disappear from my life forever. I'm crouched at the top of the basement stairs, my mind racing through increasingly desperate calculations. It takes 15 minutes to get to the airport. 20 minutes to check bags and get through security with a dog. Which means they'll be leaving the house in 45 minutes, maybe less. Stephanie's heels are clicking back toward the kitchen, and I can hear her opening cabinets again, calling Max's name in that fake sweet voice she uses when she's trying to sound maternal. Meanwhile, Dad's moved on to his next phone crisis, something about hotel reservations and rental cars. I pull out my phone and text Mike, 1 hour. They're leaving in 1 hour. His response comes back immediately, still got eyes on the house. Back door. I look down at Max, who's panting slightly from stress, and then toward the basement window that suddenly seems impossibly small. Getting myself through was hard enough. Getting a 60-pound golden retriever through that same opening without him panicking or making noise. Window too small, I text back. Need different exit. Then I remember something that makes my pulse spike with hope, the doggy door. When we first got Max, Dad installed a large pet door in the laundry room that connects to the backyard. It's been locked for months because Stephanie complained about security risks, but the actual flap is still there. If I can get to the laundry room and unlock it. Max, I whisper, tugging gently on his collar. We're going downstairs for a minute. He follows me down into the basement, his nails clicking softly on the wooden steps. The basement runs under the whole house, and I know there's a door that opens into the laundry room from down here. Dad used it when he was installing the water heater last year. But when I try the handle, it's locked. Of course it is. Stephanie probably insisted on locking every possible entry point when they decided to shut me out of their perfect new life. I'm standing in my childhood basement, holding my dog, listening to my father plan his escape upstairs, and I've never felt more trapped in my life. That's when I notice the small window near the ceiling that looks into the laundry room. It's the kind of basement window that's meant for light, not access, maybe 8 inches tall and 2 feet wide. But it's not latched, and through it I can see straight to the doggy door on the far wall. I look at Max, then at the window, then back at Max. There's no way he's fitting through there. But maybe, if I can get through myself, I can unlock the laundry room from the inside and let him in the normal way. Stay here, buddy, I whisper, scratching behind his ears. I'll be right back. The window pushes open with a soft scraping sound that makes me freeze, waiting for someone upstairs to investigate. But Dad's moved on to yelling at someone about Colorado apartment deposits, and Stephanie seems to have given up her kitchen search in favor of checking the garage. I boost myself up on an old storage box and start wiggling through the narrow opening. It's even tighter than the outside window, and halfway through I get stuck, my hips wedged against the frame while my legs dangle into the basement and my upper body hangs into the laundry room. For a terrifying moment, I think I'm actually trapped. Then I hear Dad's voice getting closer. Have you found him yet? Because we need to leave in 30 minutes, not an hour. 30 minutes. The timeline just shrunk again. Pure panic gives me the strength to wrench myself through the window, landing hard on the laundry room floor next to a basket of Stephanie's designer workout clothes. I scramble to my feet and rush to unlock the door to the basement, my hands shaking as I turn the deadbolt. Max bounds through the moment I open it, tail wagging like this is all some elaborate game. If only he knew how high the stakes really are. The doggy door is locked with a simple sliding bolt, the kind designed to keep raccoons out, not golden retrievers in. I slide it open and push the flap, and blessed cool air rushes through from the backyard. Come on, I whisper to Max, pointing at the opening. Remember how to use this? He tilts his head, confused. It's been months since this door was unlocked, and he's out of practice. Plus, he can probably sense my anxiety, which is making him hesitant to do anything that might upset the humans who are supposed to take care of him. From the kitchen, Stephanie's voice carries clearly, David, I can't find Max anywhere. Are you sure he was clipped to the door? Of course I'm sure, Dad snaps back. Dogs don't just vanish. Check the garage again. I already checked the garage. And the basement. And every closet in the house. Stephanie's getting frustrated now, her voice taking on that sharp edge she gets when her perfect plans start falling apart. Maybe he got out somehow. Got out how? All the doors are locked, the windows are locked. A pause. Then Dad's voice, much quieter, unless someone let him out. My blood turns to ice. He's figured it out. I'm crouched in the laundry room with Max, my heart hammering as Dad's words sink in, unless someone let him out. The house goes dead silent except for the hum of the dryer. I can practically hear Dad and Stephanie looking at each other, putting pieces together. You don't think? Stephanie starts. Emma. Dad's voice is flat, certain. She has a key. I thought you changed the locks. I changed the front and back doors. But she's lived here for 17 years. She knows every way into this house. Footsteps move rapidly through the kitchen, and I hear Dad checking the basement door, the one I just came through. The handle rattles. This was locked, he calls out. But the bolt's been turned from the inside. More footsteps, faster now. They're searching systematically, and it's only a matter of time before they check the laundry room. I look down at Max, who's still staring at the doggy door like he's forgotten how to use it. Please, I whisper desperately, pushing on his hindquarters. You have to go through. But golden retrievers are social animals. Max doesn't want to go outside alone, he wants to stay with his pack. Even if his pack is currently trying to abandon him. That's when I hear Dad's voice from the basement, Emma. I know you're in here. No more hiding. I grab Max's collar and physically push him toward the doggy door. Go, go, go. Finally, some survival instinct kicks in and Max pushes through the flap just as the laundry room door handle starts turning. I dive through after him, the plastic flap smacking me in the face as Dad's voice explodes behind us. There. We tumble into the backyard together, Max finally understanding that this is serious. I scramble to my feet and look around frantically. The back fence is too high to climb with a dog. The side gate is padlocked, another one of Stephanie's security measures. And I can hear Dad fumbling with the locks on the back door. That's when I see Uncle Mike's truck pulling into the alley behind the house. This way. I grab Max's collar and run toward the back fence, where Mike is already jumping out of his truck. He's carrying bolt cutters. The gate. I shout, pointing at the padlocked side gate. Mike doesn't hesitate. The lock snaps in two cuts, and the gate swings open just as the back door bursts open behind us. Emma. Dad's voice is pure fury. Get back here. But I'm already pushing Max through the gate, Mike right behind us. We pile into his truck, Max in the passenger seat, me diving into the driver's side as Mike runs around to get behind the wheel. The engine roars to life just as Dad appears at the gate, his face red with rage. He starts running toward us, but Mike guns it down the alley, gravel spraying behind us. Holy shit, Mike breathes, checking the rearview mirror. That was close. Too close. And it's not over yet. My phone starts buzzing immediately, Dad calling. I decline it, but he calls right back. Then Stephanie calls. Then Dad again. He's going to call Mom, I realize. And the police. Let him, Mike says grimly. You've got legal ownership. We've got the registration papers. And we've got about 20 minutes before they have to leave for their flight. 20 minutes to get Max somewhere safe. 20 minutes before Dad has to choose between chasing us and making his flight to Colorado. I look back at Max, who's panting heavily but seems calmer now that we're moving. He doesn't understand what just happened, but he trusts me. The way he always has. The way Dad never did. My phone buzzes with a text, you have no idea what you've just done. I delete it without responding. Because I know exactly what I've done. I've saved my family. We're 3 blocks away from Dad's house when Mike's truck starts making a horrible grinding noise. No, 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 Mike mutters, pulling over as steam starts rising from under the hood. Not now. The engine dies completely, and we sit in stunned silence for about 3 seconds before my phone explodes with another call from Dad. What do we do? I ask, declining the call again. Max is panting heavily in the passenger seat, still stressed from our dramatic exit. Mike pops the hood and jumps out to investigate. I can see him through the windshield, swearing silently as he pokes at something in the engine. When he gets back in, his expression tells me everything I need to know. Radiator hose, he says grimly. I can fix it, but not here, and not in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That's all we have left before Dad and Stephanie need to leave for the airport. If we're stuck here when they drive by. We need another car, I say, already pulling out my phone. Who are you calling? The only person I know who's not at work right now. I scroll to Kai's number, praying he's not in calculus. He picks up on the second ring. Dude, why aren't you in school? Mrs. Patterson is looking for you. Kai, I need a huge favor. Like, friendship defining huge. There's a pause. Okay, now I'm concerned. What's going on? I'll explain later, but right now I need you to pick me up. I'm on Maple Street with my uncle and my dog, and we need to get somewhere safe in the next 10 minutes. Emma, you're scaring me. Are you in some kind of trouble? Through Mike's windshield, I can see a familiar BMW turning onto our street. Dad's car, moving slowly like he's searching for something. Or someone. He's coming, I whisper to Mike, ducking down in my seat. Dad's car. Mike immediately understands. Get down, both of you, he hisses, pushing Max's head below window level. We huddle in the truck cab as Dad's car creeps past. I can see his silhouette through the windows, he's definitely looking for us. My phone is still connected to Kai, and I can hear his voice getting more worried. Emma. What's happening? Who's coming? Kai, I whisper into the phone, remember in 8th grade when you borrowed my mom's car to drive to Portland when your dad was in the hospital? And I never told anyone, even when Principal Martinez was threatening to suspend half the class for the missing car report. Yeah, of course. I'm calling in that favor. I need you to skip your next class and pick me up. Right now. Another pause, longer this time. Then, text me the address. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Dad's car reaches the end of the block and turns around. He's coming back for another pass, probably checking every driveway and side street. Mike starts the truck again, and miraculously, the engine turns over. It'll run for maybe 5 more minutes, he says. But not much longer. Kai's coming. We just need to make it to the corner of Maple and 3rd. We limp down the street at maybe 15 miles per hour, the engine making increasingly unhappy noises. Behind us, I can see Dad's car starting its second pass down the block. If he spots Mike's distinctive red truck. There. I point ahead to where Kai's beat-up Honda Civic is pulling up to the corner, hazard lights flashing. Mike barely gets the truck stopped before I'm jumping out with Max. Kai pops his trunk and I practically shove my confused golden retriever into the back. Go, go, go. I shout, diving into Kai's passenger seat. Where exactly are we going? Kai asks, but he's already pulling away from the curb. I look back to see Dad's BMW reaching the intersection just as we disappear around the corner. Too close. Way too close. Your house, I say, finally catching my breath. And Kai. Thank you. I owe you everything. You're going to explain all this, right? I look back at Max, who's finally starting to calm down in Kai's trunk space, and then at my phone, which shows 6 missed calls from Dad and 3 from Stephanie. In 12 minutes, they have to leave for the airport. In 12 minutes, I'll know if I've actually saved Max, or if I've just made everything infinitely worse. Yeah, I tell Kai. I'll explain everything. Kai's house sits on a quiet cul-de-sac where his mom grows prize-winning roses and his dad collects vintage motorcycles. It's the kind of neighborhood where nothing dramatic ever happens, which makes it perfect for hiding a stolen dog and a runaway teenager. We're sitting in Kai's garage with Max sprawled between us, his golden fur still damp with stress sweat. I've just finished explaining everything, the secret move, the custody loophole, the great doggy door escape, and Kai's staring at me like I've grown a second head. So let me get this straight, he says slowly. Your dad is currently at the airport, thinking his dog was kidnapped, but actually you legally own the dog, so it's not kidnapping, it's, what? Surprise custody enforcement. Basically. I check my phone for the 100th time. It's been 45 minutes since we escaped, which means Dad and Stephanie's flight should be boarding any minute. Though I'm pretty sure Dad's going to see it differently. As if summoned by my words, my phone buzzes with an incoming call. Not Dad this time, Mom. My stomach drops. Dad must have called her from the airport, probably spinning some story about how I've lost my mind and stolen his property. I stare at the screen, paralyzed between wanting to hear her voice and terrifying fear that she's calling to tell me I've ruined everything. You have to answer, Kai says gently. She's probably worried sick. I swipe to accept the call, putting it on speaker so my hands don't shake. Emma. Mom's voice is carefully controlled, which somehow makes it worse than if she were yelling. I need you to tell me exactly what happened today. Mom, I can explain. Your father called me 20 minutes ago. He was at the airport, screaming about theft and kidnapping and calling the police. I've never heard him so angry. She pauses, and I can hear hospital sounds in the background. She's still at work. He said you broke into his house and stole Max. It's not stealing. The words burst out of me. Max is legally mine. I have the registration papers. I'm on the microchip. Emma. Mom's voice cuts through my panic. Take a deep breath. Start from the beginning. So I do. I tell her about seeing the moving truck this morning, about Dad's flight leaving early, about the locked house and the desperate escape through the doggy door. I tell her about Uncle Mike and the bolt cutters and Kai's rescue mission. Through it all, Max lies peacefully between me and my best friend, completely unaware that he's at the center of a legal and emotional hurricane. When I finish, the silence stretches so long I wonder if the call dropped. Mom. Are you still there? I'm here. Her voice sounds different now, tired, but also something else. Proud, maybe. Your father missed his flight. My heart stops. What? He called me from the airport security office. Apparently he was making such a scene about his stolen dog that TSA got involved. By the time he convinced them it was a family matter and not an actual crime, the gate had closed. So he's still in Oregon. For now. He's rebooked on a red-eye tonight, but Emma. Mom's voice gets serious again. He's furious. And when your father gets this angry, he doesn't think clearly. He's talking about lawyers and police reports and custody violations. Kai catches my eye and makes a throat-cutting gesture. This is bad. Really bad. But I didn't violate custody, I say weakly. Max was supposed to be with me during my visitation anyway. The agreement says. The agreement says a lot of things, sweetheart. But family court judges don't usually appreciate teenage vigilante justice, even when it's technically legal. Mom sighs heavily. Where are you right now? Somewhere safe. With Max. Good. Stay there. I'm leaving work early, telling them it's a family emergency, which is definitely true. We need to figure out our next move before your father's flight tonight. Our next move. Like we're a team in this. Like she's not going to make me give Max back and apologize for ruining Dad's perfect new life. Mom. My voice comes out smaller than I intended. Are you mad at me? The pause is shorter this time. Mad? Emma, you just outmaneuvered your father's lawyer, executed a flawless extraction mission, and saved the family member who matters most to you. I'm not mad, honey. I'm impressed. I feel tears starting, the kind that come from relief mixed with exhaustion. So Max can stay with us. Max was always going to stay with us, one way or another. You just made sure it happened on our terms instead of your father's. But as I'm processing this wave of hope, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over. See you in court. Dad's gotten a new phone. Which means he's not just angry, he's planning his counterattack. 2 hours later, we're still holed up in Kai's garage when my worst nightmare comes true. A police cruiser pulls into the driveway. Shit, Kai breathes, peering through the window. Emma, there's a cop car outside. My heart stops. Dad actually did it. He called the police and reported Max stolen. I watch Officer Martinez, I recognize him from the school resource program, walk up to Kai's front door, and suddenly this whole thing feels a lot less like righteous justice and a lot more like actual crime. What do I do? I whisper, my hand instinctively going to Max's collar. He's sleeping peacefully, completely unaware that uniformed officers are probably here to drag him back to Dad. Maybe they're not here for you, Kai suggests weakly, but we both know that's wishful thinking. Officer Martinez is ringing the doorbell now, and through the thin garage walls we can hear Kai's mom answering. Good afternoon, Mrs. Chen. I'm looking for Emma Rodriguez. Her father filed a report about a missing family pet, and we have reason to believe she might be here. Kai's mom, who makes the best lumpia in Portland and has never said a harsh word about anyone in her life, suddenly sounds like she's channeling a defense attorney. Do you have a warrant to search my property, officer? I blink in surprise. Apparently Mrs. Chen has been watching more legal dramas than anyone realized. Ma'am, this is just a welfare check. The girl's father is concerned about her emotional state, and there seems to be some confusion about pet custody arrangements. Emotional state, I mutter bitterly. Right. Like he's ever cared about my emotional state. But Mrs. Chen isn't backing down. If you don't have a warrant, then I'm afraid I can't help you. Emma is 17 years old, not a small child, and if she's here voluntarily. Through my phone, which is still connected to Mom, I hear her sharp intake of breath. Emma, are you listening to this? Yeah, I whisper. Mrs. Chen is basically telling a cop to get lost for me. Smart woman. But honey, this means your father is escalating faster than we expected. We need to get ahead of this. Officer Martinez's voice carries clearly through the door. Mrs. Chen, I understand your position, but I do need to verify the girl's safety. Her father claims she's been acting erratically and may have taken property that doesn't belong to her. Property. The word tastes like poison in my mouth. That's how Dad sees Max now, not as a family member, but as property that I stole from him. Kai's mom's response is crisp. Officer, if you have specific concerns about child welfare, I suggest you contact the appropriate social services. Otherwise, I'm going to have to ask you to leave my property. There's a long pause, then Officer Martinez's sigh carries through the door. Ma'am, can you at least confirm that Emma is safe and unharmed? Mrs. Chen doesn't hesitate. Any young people on my property are safe and well cared for. Is there anything else? Another pause. Then, if Emma is here, please let her know that her father just wants to talk. And that the dog needs to be returned before this becomes a bigger legal issue. Legal issue. My stomach clenches as the reality hits me. Dad's not just angry, he's building a case. Probably already has his lawyer drafting papers about custodial interference and theft of property. Through the phone, Mom's voice is urgent. Emma, listen to me carefully. Do not let them take Max tonight. I'm 20 minutes away, and I'm bringing something that's going to change everything. What do you mean? Remember what I said about following the custody agreement to the letter? Well, I've been doing some reading of my own. And it turns out your father made a very expensive mistake when he had his lawyer draft that paperwork. Before I can ask what she means, I hear Officer Martinez's footsteps moving away from the front door. But instead of leaving, they're heading around the side of the house. Toward the garage. He's coming back here, Kai whispers frantically. Max's ears perk up at our panicked voices, and he starts to stand, probably planning to greet this new person with his usual golden retriever enthusiasm. The last thing I need is for him to bark and give away our location. Stay, I command quietly, using my most serious dog training voice. Max sits back down, but his tail is wagging. He can sense people outside, and his social instincts are kicking in. Officer Martinez's voice is right outside the garage now. Hello. Emma. I just need to talk to you for a few minutes. I look at Kai, who's gone pale. At Max, who's starting to whine softly with excitement about potential new friends. At my phone, where Mom is saying something urgent that I can't quite hear over the sound of my own heartbeat. Dad's counterattack has officially begun. And I'm about to find out if stealing my own dog was the smartest thing I've ever done, or the biggest mistake of my life. The garage door rattles as Officer Martinez knocks on it directly. Emma, I know you're in there. Your friend's mom already confirmed you're safe, so let's just have a conversation. My phone buzzes with a text from Mom, 5 minutes away. Do not let them take Max before I get there. Trust me. But Officer Martinez isn't going anywhere. Through the thin garage door, I can hear him talking to someone else, probably calling for backup or checking with dispatch. This is escalating way beyond what I planned for. Emma Rodriguez? A different voice now, female. This is Officer Park. We're not here to arrest anyone, but we do need to sort out this pet custody situation before it gets more complicated. Pet custody situation. At least they're not calling it theft anymore. Max is getting increasingly agitated, whining and shifting around because he can hear multiple people outside and his golden retriever brain is screaming that he should be out there making friends and getting belly rubs. Any second now he's going to bark, and then our hiding spot becomes useless. What if we just go out there? Kai whispers. Explain everything. You've got the legal ownership papers, right? In my backpack, I confirm. But Kai, what if they don't care about the papers? What if Dad convinced them I'm some kind of unstable runaway who broke into his house? Through my phone, Mom's voice cuts through my panic. Emma, listen to me. Answer the door. Show them the registration papers. But do not let them take Max anywhere until I arrive. Tell them you're waiting for your mother to provide additional legal documentation. Additional legal documentation. Trust me, sweetheart. I found something in the divorce papers that your father's lawyer missed. Something that's about to make his whole stolen property argument completely meaningless. Officer Martinez knocks again, more insistently this time. Emma, we can do this easy or we can do this hard, but we're not leaving until we confirm you're okay and sort out this dog situation. The dog situation. Like Max is just some disputed object instead of a living being who's been my best friend for 3 years. I look down at Max, who's now standing and wagging his tail because he definitely knows there are people outside who might want to pet him. His innocent trust in the world just makes this whole thing more heartbreaking. He has no idea that his entire future is being decided by people with badges and legal documents. Okay, I say quietly to Kai. We go out there. But you stay with Max no matter what, okay? Don't let anyone put him in a car or take him anywhere. Kai nods grimly. Got it. I stand up, my legs shaky from sitting on the concrete floor for 2 hours, and walk toward the garage door. My hand hovers over the button that will raise it and officially end our hiding. Officers. I call out. I'm going to open the door. But I want you to know that I haven't done anything illegal, and I'm not going anywhere without my mother present. That's fine, Emma. We just want to talk. I hit the button, and the garage door rumbles upward with agonizing slowness. Officer Martinez and Officer Park are standing in the driveway, both looking more tired than threatening. Behind them, I can see Mrs. Chen hovering by her front door, clearly ready to intervene if things go wrong. But as the door reaches its full height, I see something that makes my blood freeze, Dad's BMW pulling up behind the police cars. He didn't get on the red-eye flight. He came here instead. Dad gets out of his BMW like he's walking into a business meeting, his face set in that cold, controlled expression I've learned to fear more than his anger. Behind him, Stephanie emerges from the passenger seat, still wearing those ridiculous heels that cost more than Mom's monthly grocery budget. There's my daughter, Dad says to the officers, his voice dripping with fake concern. And my stolen dog. He's not stolen. The words explode out of me before I can stop them. Max is legally registered to me. I have the papers. Officer Martinez holds up a hand. Let's all take a step back here. Emma, your father filed a report claiming you broke into his residence and took property without permission. Property? I gesture at Max, who's now sitting politely at my feet, tail wagging as he recognizes Dad. He's not property, he's family. And I didn't steal him, I'm his legal owner. Dad's lawyer voice kicks in, smooth and confident. Officers, while my daughter may have handled the initial registration paperwork, Max was purchased as a family pet during my marriage. The divorce decree clearly states. Actually, David, a familiar voice cuts through his speech, the divorce decree states something very different. Mom's car door slams as she strides across the driveway, holding a manila folder that looks like it's been thoroughly analyzed. Her scrubs are wrinkled from her rushed exit from the hospital, but her expression is sharper than I've seen it in years. Claire, Dad's voice goes tight. I don't know what Emma told you, but... What Emma told me, Mom interrupts, was to read our custody agreement very carefully. Which I did. Along with the original divorce decree. She opens the folder and pulls out a highlighted document. Officers, would you like to see what Mr. Rodriguez's lawyer actually wrote? Officer Park takes the papers while Dad's confident expression starts to crack. Ma'am, we're just trying to resolve a family dispute about pet custody. Oh, this resolves it, Mom says grimly. Section 12.4 of our divorce decree specifically states that any property registered solely in our daughter's name remains her individual property, not subject to custody arrangements. She looks directly at Dad. Your lawyer was so focused on protecting your golf clubs and boat that he forgot to claim ownership of the dog. The silence stretches for several heartbeats. Dad's face goes through about 5 different expressions before settling on barely controlled fury. That's impossible. I paid for that dog, You paid for him as Emma's 15th birthday present, Mom continues relentlessly. Which legally constitutes a gift. And gifts given to minors become their individual property upon completion of the transfer. She turns to the officers. Emma has every legal right to keep her dog. In fact, taking Max to Colorado without her permission would constitute theft under Oregon law. Officer Martinez looks between the papers and Dad's increasingly red face. Mr. Rodriguez, based on these documents, it appears your daughter is the legal owner of the animal. This is ridiculous. Stephanie finally speaks up, her voice shrill. We've already made arrangements, we have a yard in Colorado, Ma'am, Officer Park says politely, your arrangements don't override legal ownership. I watch Dad realize he's lost. Really lost. His perfect new life in Colorado, his happy family image, his control over every detail of his situation, it's all crumbling because he was so arrogant he never bothered to check the legal details. Fine, he says finally, his voice like ice. Keep the dog. But don't expect me to pay for vet bills or food or anything else. I wouldn't dream of asking, I reply, my hand resting on Max's head. We'll take care of each other just fine. Dad turns and walks back to his BMW without another word. Stephanie follows, clicking across the concrete in those stupid heels. As their car disappears around the corner, I feel something I haven't felt in 2 years, complete victory. Max looks up at me with those trusting golden eyes, his tail never stopping its happy rhythm. We're finally safe. We're finally home.